gentlemen, our new driver, Ayrton Senna.
Ayrton.
Elton?
Okay. I need a slide up here, guys. I need my next slide up, which I'm trying to push the button here. It's not happening. There we go. Perfect. Thank you very much. Wow. Good morning, Lisbon. You'll have noticed that there wasn't any film in that film. It will all be very clear in the next quarter of an hour why. Thank you for coming this morning. It's quite intimidating to be with an audience that's creating the future when I come from an art form that's about a century old now. I reckon everybody in this room has a story that they're immersed in, whose characters they bond with, empathize with, or even aspire to be. So let me ask a question. How many of you would like more of the story that you love? Some hands? Hey, there we go. I've never done this before in terms of trying to get an audience participation, but there you go, first time. So I'm here to tell you that how this happens in the future will be very different from today. That the elements, technologies, the criteria, and the talent to make this happen is already in place. You came to hear about the future of film. I'm here to tell you about the future of storytelling, and that will show us the future of film. I've got a video coming up here now. My clicker isn't doing exactly what it should be doing. Could I get the video, please? So let's talk about the notion that technology is the future of film. It's always been at the core of innovation in film storytelling. In 1927, sound enabled a form that shocked. In 1937, full-length animation with Snow White enchanted. In 1995, computer-generated animation with Toy Story beguiled. And in 2013, people were amazed with a fundamentally photoreal film called Gravity that we made. And for our industry, this created a new approach to filmmaking. Now, all these technologies were enablers to tell a great story in a new dimension each time. So fundamentally, technology is an enabler, which sums up what we do now. We enable storytelling through technological artistry. Our view of the future is storytelling across the platforms. I admire companies that can reduce very complex, very large business strategies to one line and then align everything to it. Coca-Cola's vision 40 years ago was to put a bottle of Coke within arm's reach, anywhere, in any form, and at any time of the day globally. This led to significant innovations in how to do this. Vending machines, corner shops, in our offices, while we travel, endless variations of delivery mechanisms and portion sizes. This strategy sums up my view of the future of film in business terms. Telling stories will be delivered on many platforms. Here behind me, I've noted 9, but obviously many more will emerge over the next decade. And we started our business with just 2 of them, cinema and television. The feature film, as we know it via Hollywood, is generally at the core of powerful intellectual property franchises. The ecosystem that you see emerging behind me provides you and I with a map of the future of film. Film provide the doors into worlds that will be expressed in formats that we want to consume, and for a length that work for the place and the time that we are in on each occasion. A key aspect of film's new multifaceted existence is the nature of each platform. Each has, as you will well know, technical limitations, consumption limitations, creative limitations, which means that we need to develop new rules, new story formats that have an integrity for each platform, for that particular one, both creative, technical, and most of all, financial. What will people pay? And the future of film, inevitably, is tied up with money. Spectacle, of the type that we make, doesn't come cheap. The films we make cost somewhere between $100, $200 million, and get more ambitious as time goes by. It's very much, as in the games industry, a winner take all. And in our case, the winner tends to take $1 billion or more. So I thought I could also then start to delve into a subset of this ecosystem. Here in Lisbon, as with many other parts of the world, we're seeing a major presence with VR. The image I've put up here has got 9 variations on this platform. Those on the left are very much the basic mobile-driven. Those in the middle are beginning to build on that. And those on the right are the immersive headsets that require more. And each and every one of them is so very different in storytelling opportunities. On the left, we will obviously have millions of users soon, hundreds of millions in fact. And on the right, we will obviously have tens of millions, presumably in another 1 or 2 years. But all of them, I feel, will have their best experiences aligned to film-created worlds and stories, and therefore will become critical and important to the economics of films. As a storyteller, you cannot really do all of this on your own, particularly in these early days. You need alignment with partners who in turn need those of us in the creative community. I've just sort of listed some of the examples there. Now is very much the time for people like yourselves and the platforms to make alliances with people like us, and very, very much vice versa. I've put in on the bottom right an example of a new business model, a company that's emerged called Starbreeze. And their model is to take and put VR experiences in IMAX cinema foyers. So there's a new business that didn't exist 1 or 2 years ago that potentially may be a significant portion of a film experience. I'm using these next 2 slides by way of illustration to those of you who have an interest in the future of film production, to make the essential point that on my left, I start with the filmmaking skills, which we do obviously generally through digital tools. We create assets which can then be used, if pre-planned, and this is a big if, across every conceivable delivery platform. And somewhere between the left of this slide and the right-hand side, we enter a games creation style of pipeline. So you could say the future of film is an evolution into games world production environments. I want to take 2 examples which will show some of the direction that I've begun to hint at so far, to be specific. In both cases, these forms didn't exist 1 year ago at Web Summit. We've been working with J.K. Rowling and Warner Brothers on her new world for about the last 2.5 years. The first exposure, many of you will know, happens in a few weeks with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I'm running some footage as we chat. The world behind me will transport you into her world and its magical aspects. It will introduce you to characters and beasts that will charm you, they'll scare you, will amuse you, but they will always entertain you. They will be very much exposed in this first film, but much will be left to be exposed in future across the many platforms. We've been working with Google to be at the center of a new platform, and I thought I'd just give you a small taster. Here you go. You may recall 10 minutes ago I expressed a certain admiration for the Coca-Cola strategy. My thesis for you this morning is that the future of film means that the story and the characters you love will be available to you when you want, where you want, in the form you want, from short form through to fully immersive, at home, while you're traveling, and shared with friends on a night out. So I want to leave you with a few thoughts. I don't know what the future of film is any more than you or necessarily the Hollywood studios do. I will, however, leave you with a film about something that we delivered 6 months ago. Until then, we hadn't conceived of the use of the technology. We hadn't sourced the technology. We hadn't thought of its purpose. We did, however, create a first in a storytelling platform that can be applied to hundreds of stories already popular amongst us. So in my world, there is no future to predict. There's only one to create. I want to be at the center of storytelling and innovation for the rest of my life. For me, that is the future of film.
When I first heard about this project, I thought you were crazy.
We had to invent a way for transparent windows to become high-def displays.
We mapped every street in Washington, D.C. on the surface of Mars. So wherever we started the experience, you would start off on that exact same road at that exact same intersection on Mars.
You could see like what we were going by on the screens, and then you could feel it, so it felt like, oh, we're going past that. Oh, now I feel that we're going past that. It felt real.
Almost everything that we did with this bus experience was done from scratch.
Currently, with the VR headsets, it does isolate you, whereas this, particularly with the children, they were able to point things out to each other to really enjoy the experience communally.
Someone in my generation, someone in school today, could be the first people on Mars.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.